How well would you say this team is syncing at this point?
I mean, it was a great team win today. We played complementary football in all three phases of the game, and I think we're finally finding out who we are as a team. So this is a great team win. It's a great team win to go into the bye, and you know, just happy right now.
By the way, he won't tell you, but this dude is playing lights the out.
Hey, we deserve this, fellas. We deserve it. No, family. Family on three. 1, 2, 3.
The Dolphins beat the Cleveland Browns to rise to 7-3 atop the AFC East. The Dolphins are #1 in the AFC East. Let me repeat that. Over halfway through the 2022 season, the Dolphins sit atop the AFC East. Since Tua's returned from his concussion, the Dolphins are 4-0. When Tua has started and finished the game, the Dolphins are 7-0 this year. Let the MVP talk begin. Tua Tagovailoa once again balled out, and the offensive line is becoming an elite unit right before our very eyes. I did a video called My 10 Keys to the Game, and I'm going to go through those 10 keys and see how the Dolphins did, and let's grade them. I said if the Dolphins performed well on those 10 keys, it would guarantee a victory. Let's see how the Dolphins did. My number 10 was stop the run. Stop the Cleveland Browns running game. Don't let Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb get a bunch of yards. And other than Nick Chubb's long run at the end of the game, they did just that. They stopped the Cleveland Browns running game. So I'm going to have to grade the Dolphins defense at overall a B+ in stopping the running game. My number 9 was make Jacoby Brissett beat you. And they did just that, and he did. So I'm going to give him an A on that one. My number 8 was that Xavier Howard had to step up. And while he played much better than he has been, he still has a way to go. I'm going to grade him a C. My number 7 was I said that Teron Armstead and Brandon Shell had to shut down Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. And they did just that. I'm going to have to give a standing ovation to both those guys, as Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney were basically invisible. A+, standing ovation. My number 6 was that the Miami Dolphins had to let Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson run the ball. Yeah, I think they did that one in spades, so we're going to give them an A+ on that one. Enough said, the running game has arrived. Number 5 I said was don't do any stupid penalties. And other than the BS call on Christian Wilkins for falling on a guy during a sack, which I don't know how he's supposed to avoid, the only other problem they had was Trent Sherfield mouthing off after he made that great catch. And because of the stupidity, the mental error, the lack of mental discipline to cause a penalty at that stage of the game, I'm going to have to give the Dolphins a C. My number 4, I said that Jason Sanders had to make his kicks. He obviously still has problems. I don't know what's going on with Jason Sanders, but they need to figure this out real soon. Championship level teams need a good kicker. I'm going to have to grade Jason Sanders' performance as a D. My number 3 was that Mike McDaniel had to have much better clock management, and he did. He absolutely got the plays in on time and seemed to get them to Tua as well. And he didn't blow timeouts unnecessarily. I'm going to give Mike McDaniel a B on this. My number 2 was win the turnover battle, which they did. The Browns had 1 turnover, a fumble by Nick Chubb, and the Dolphins had 0 turnovers. That's an A grade. And my number 1 key to the game, as it will be for the rest of the season, is to protect Tua Tagovailoa. Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney didn't lay a glove on him. 0 sacks. Offensive line, you get an A. Myles Garrett spoke after the game about what happened and why he was unable to get to Tua.
One-on-one, having him, step up. I mean, he was getting the ball out quick. Having the tight end there, having the trippers there. I mean, it wasn't a big chipper game, but it was a big play action and moving the pocket with his passes, and so. He wasn't in the same spot a lot of the times, and that led to him having a little bit more time getting the ball out. But when he did feel pressure, he got out when he could.
We're hearing this more and more. Tua's quick release, coupled with Mike McDaniel's scheming to move Tua around in the pocket, is really causing defenses problems.
This was the best.
The emergence of the running game was amazing to see. Jeff Wilson has shown that he's a serious stud in the backfield, and coupled with Raheem Mostert, these guys are going to get the ground game moving. The 1-2 punch of Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson is going to keep defensive coordinators up at night.
My defensive player of the game.
My defensive player of the game is Christian Wilkins. The big fella kicks some Browns ass.
My offensive player of the game.
My offensive player of the game is Jeff Wilson. 119 yards on the ground. Salute, brother.
Grading the coach.
As I mentioned earlier, Mike McDaniel's clock management improved greatly. But dude, when you're pounding your opponent into submission, go for the jugular. Stop with the unnecessary trick plays. They aren't needed in those situations. But overall, Mike McDaniel called a really good game. So let's go with a B grade here. Now the Dolphins have a bye week before they go ahead and face the Houston Texans, but there's no such thing as a bye week here. Tomorrow is Tua Tuesday. See you then. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out this smoking video right here. Talk to you soon. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?